Earlier, a team like Kaizer Chiefs should be in this competition season in, season out. Obviously missed out the last two editions of it, but yeah, we're excited to be back, and for sure it's a matter of that's motivation for us. This is where we want to be, and not just add numbers. We want to make ourselves known in this competition. I think it's important for us to take it each game one game at a time. But the ambitions is there. We want to go all the way. But the most important game is this weekend. So we're excited. We're looking forward to it. And come Sunday, we'll be ready.
These are
How much last weekend's win motivate you guys heading into this one?
I think a lot, even though cup competitions are quite different, but I think momentum is important, and for us it's obviously it's a continuation. So what we did last weekend, I think it's for us to build on that, because that's obviously our foundation so far. So for us it's to build on that and just continue the dominance of it.
Pizza, on a personal level, how much confidence are you drawing from the season that you had last season? It was a very good season on a personal level.
I think for me, a lot. For me, I think the main thing is to be consistent, to make sure that I can just continue from where I left off. And I think for me, it starts at training. Just continuing, training hard, training well, and making sure I train the way I play, and just stay in that space, in that good space for as long as possible.
And the team, as your goalkeeper, two guys who are normally in front of you, Aden, McCarthy, Msimango, have left the club. How much do those changes affect you as a defensive team?
I think it's obviously sad to see players go, but this is football. It's the nature of football. Us as players, I think you get to a stage in your career or in your playing career where you get used to that, and you if there's a structure in place, and players come in and they go out, players come in, they fit into that structure. We continue where we left off, and like you said, last season obviously we had a good defensive record, and I think for us it's important just to build on that. The guys that we have at the back it's not new guys, they've been part of the system. Maybe it's only Tabo that came in at the back. So for us it's to build on what we started last season defensively and just continue it.
Just speaking of players who've left, Ashley Du Preez maybe had a difficult time with the Chiefs. Maybe confidence low, chances missed. He's now had the chance to go back to the familiar territory. What was his time at Chiefs? Were you there for some of these difficult moments, and how do you think this move will help him to sort of get himself back?
Yeah, I think it was unfortunate for him, that his time at Chiefs wasn't what he has hoped for. But I always say that there's chapters in our career that molds us, as players, and some are not good ones for us, but it shapes us into the people we become and the players we become. So I'm sure that there's a lot of lessons for him and in his time at Chiefs, and the moments that he had at Chiefs, the good moments, that I'm sure he will carry that for the rest of his career. And I think going back home, back to the team, that for him where it really went well. I think it's important for him in his career, to just go back, reset, and try and find the Ashley that we all know, and dishing out the performances that we know that he can. And I'm very hopeful. I know that for sure he's going to have a great season at Stellenbosch, and we'll be there watching and obviously meeting the time.
But a new player as well, so Langelihle Phili has joined. Just your feeling on that one, and there's been so much said. How much pressure as well do you think will be on him with so much that's been said about his move and what Stellenbosch got with him?
I think he has a good head on his shoulders. Phenomenal player. Obviously a lot of hype around it and that, but I think his support structure and the people he has in his corner is quite solid. and I think for him, so I've seen when he joined us first day of training, it's like he's been there for long, you know, and that's, for me, that's always a good sign to see, especially from a younger player, because generally when new players come in, you know, they take time to settle. He stepped in and it was like he was at home, so that for me is a good sign, and I know for a fact that with the people around him and that won't go to his head, and he will be able to go out, enjoy his football, and dish out the performances that people expect.
Kaizer, regarding working under Coach Fernando da Cruz, what are some of the qualities that we, the media and fans, might not see about him? What are some of the things that you found impressive about the coach in terms of
about the coach?
About the coach, yeah. Some of the qualities that we wouldn't see and we don't see outside.
I think he's a coach that's very patient. You know, that he has a style that he wants to play, but he also knows that it takes time. You know, for you're not gonna come in and just gonna happen. And I think that patience for us as players sometimes that helps us a lot. You know, that the coach don't expect you to understand something overnight. So for me, that's one of the things for me that's really important. And then also the player management. You know, how he handles obviously the entire squad. And there's players who's not playing. And then also how everyone is treated exactly the same. You know, there's no stars in the team. We're all the same. We all have a fair chance to fight for our place in the team, and for me that's important.
Unlike other cup competitions, the NCAA is and the league, it's pretty brief. Would you say that this is one cup competition trophy that you fancy this season?
Yeah, for sure. I think this is a good one to start with. You know, being part of it, you know, we give ourselves a chance to fight for every trophy that's up for grabs. And this is a good one to start with. You know, this sets you up. You know, I mean, it's what, 4 or 5 games played. It's money in the bank. So I think for us that's motivation. That's literally how you think about it. That 4 or 5 games and take that trophy home. So that's the thought process. That for us is the thing. Each game is a final for us.
One from my side, the club has kept Kaizer had a difficult campaign last season on loan. The club has shown confidence in him by keeping him permanently. Just your feeling as captain, as leader, and the role maybe you play sometimes to pick him up during those difficult times.
Yeah, no. Obviously, we know Mayo's qualities. You know, the time he played in Cape Town, the time he played at Lazio, it shows you that the quality is there. You know, and it's normal for a player to sometimes go through a dip and all of that, but the most important thing is how you pick yourself up. You know, obviously he's sidelined now, he's injured, but he's a good guy. You know, he's a hard worker, and he's a guy that's full of confidence. So for me, it's good. It's easy to pick up a guy like that because they're hardly down. Whether they're doing well or not, they believe in their qualities. They believe what they can do on the field, and on the day if it doesn't show up, there's another time to try to keep going. You know, so I think for me, it's everyone knows the qualities that Mayo have, and obviously we're looking forward to obviously returning to the field.